We are very excited to finally be at this point where both statues, Daisy Bates and Johnny Cash, have received their final approvals, and now we're down to just setting the dates and setting the celebrations for the unveilings. And so we're excited that Daisy's will be first on May the 8th. We'll have a reception the night before at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, where we'll be able to see the whole museum. In fact, there's an exhibit that talks about her in the Little Rock Nine. And so it's been a long journey. It's a long process from when the legislature passed the bill in 2019 to setting up a committee and working with the Secretary of State and his staff. And so Senator Wallace and Representative Wardlaw gave the direction with the passage of the bill, and Governor Hutchinson signed it. And he and Secretary of State Thurston have both been involved with our committee from the beginning. Governor Hutchinson helped us raise the money that got us, or we wouldn't be standing here today. Governor Sanders and her staff have been very supportive since she came on last year. And so it's taken a team effort, a lot of different people and people involved in the process. We had a group in our committee that had background in art and sculpture. I'm no expert on it. My involvement is I work for the ASU system, and we own the Johnny Cash Boyhood Home, and I was Speaker of the House when we passed creating the Daisy Bates Day in Arkansas, and I was an intern for Senator David Pryor 30 years ago, and my main job was being a Capitol tour, which I gave tours of our current statues that have now been removed, but were there for over 100 years. And so it's kind of, in some ways, life has come full circle on this project for me. And so, but it's been an enormous honor to be a part of, to work with some very gifted artists that our committee selected and commissioned to do both statues. I think everyone is going to be very pleased once the statues are unveiled. I think it's a wonderful representation of who Daisy Bates was and who Johnny Cash was. And I think it's going to be a great honor for Arkansans to go and see the U.S. Capitol and see our statues. And every year there's almost 4 million people who tour the United States Capitol. And so they're going to see the representation that Arkansas has here in a few months. And so it's exciting that people are going to get to see that and understand their history and who they were. And so architect of the Capitol's office, the Joint Committee on the Library of Congress, and they've been wonderful to work with, but it is quite the process. We've had a friend who helped Nebraska do their statues, Katie Brossi, who has walked us through each and every step. I think without her, there's no way I'd be having this conversation right now. And so we've had a lot of people who've helped us get to this point. So we're just excited that now everybody, all Arkansans and Americans, are going to get to see what I've seen. And that's, I think, the thing I'm looking forward to the most. I've already had to see the statues because we had to go through the approval process. And so I kind of went back and forth if whether or not I wanted to do that. But I'm glad I did, because now what I look forward to the most is seeing everybody's reactions when we pull the cape off the statue.
Yeah, and on May 8th, who else is going to be representing Arkansas and going up there?
So we're going to have a lot of people going up. It's kind of a standard. I've watched 2 of these and gone to one. I went to Nebraska's last year. At the ceremony itself, it is standard that you're going to have the governor of your state, so Governor Sanders will be there. You have members of your delegation that speak, and since we have 6, the Speaker's office, Speaker Johnson's office, is the one who sets all this up. They set the schedule, they set the schedule of speakers. But since we have 6, they've allowed us to have 3 this time and 3 for Johnny Cash. And so all the Arkansas speakers, and then we'll have Charles King representing the Daisy Bates Foundation and Museum, who will speak on behalf of the Bates family and the Bates Foundation about Daisy Bates. And then you'll have the leadership of the U.S. House and Senate. Speaker Johnson, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Senator Schumer, Senator McConnell will all make remarks at the ceremony as well. And then we'll also have a choir. We're going to have a choir made up of alumni from UAPB and Philander Smith University. Excuse me, I'm still getting used to saying that. That will be part of the ceremony as well.
Yeah, and the statue looks great. It's based partly off of a photo of her holding a newspaper, and describe it and what you think of how that's come out.
It's amazing. Benjamin Victor is a very talented artist. He is the youngest person to have a sculpture in the National Statuary Hall collection, and he has the most, and there's a reason for that. And I think you're going to see that. And so, I have to thank the Arkansas History Commission for helping us to find a copy of the newspaper that Benjamin then did by hand in clay that's now in bronze. But it shows her being in a very powerful stride and being a very powerful in a very powerful moment in our history. And I think it really depicts that. And there's quotations that are on the base of hers that came from her book. And so I think people are going to really enjoy seeing how she's depicted in the photos that were selected by the Bates Foundation, and how Benjamin really studied her. He's not just an artist that took a photo and started trying to do a sculpture. He read everything he could. He went to her home. He went to Little Rock Central High. He toured everything and tried to learn anything and everything about Daisy Gatson Bates. And I think you're going to see that fully depicted in the statue.
And finally, the Johnny Cash statue is set for perhaps late September.
That's our hope. With both of these, we're going through about 50 different dates. When you're trying to get the leadership of Congress together, it doesn't always work out. And so we've gone through very, very different dates. And so we're shooting for September. And I think everybody, I've got to see the statue of Johnny Cash. I'm very excited for everyone to see it. The work that Kevin Kresse has done depicting Johnny, I think it tells a great story of who Johnny Cash was. And he's going to be in a very prominent place. Daisy's going to be in Statuary Hall, where a lot of the statues are. But Johnny's going to be, in his placement, is going to be where every tour group who tours the U.S. Capitol will walk by his statue. And so a lot of eyeballs are going to see Johnny Cash come September and beyond. So Kevin worked meticulously. It even got to a point he didn't feel good. This is my first time ever worked with artists, and he wasn't sure it was right. And he stopped me one day and he said, I want to make sure this is right. And that's what I told him. I said, Kevin, that statue is going to be there for more than 100 years, most likely. And so I don't want any of us to live with any regrets. And so we told him to take his time. We really wanted to try to move it along and try to do it before Governor Hutchinson went out of office. And the governor understood. He said, I want it to be right. I want it to be something that everybody understands that's Johnny Cash. So we gave Kevin more time, and he nailed it. And so I think everybody's going to love seeing the statue.
Well, the support from the family, Roseanne Cash, has just said Kevin nailed it, in her words. So,
well, you were there. You were there when she got to see the kind of part of it for the first time, and her reaction was priceless. And so I knew that at that moment that the family was going to be very pleased, and they have been all throughout the process. We've shared as much as they want to see. We've shared everything with them, and so they're extremely excited. I think, and for those who can't attend, you're obviously limited to how many seats you can have at these ceremonies. It will be live streamed. You'll be able to watch it on C-SPAN. You also can watch it through the Speaker of the House's website and Facebook page. So if you're not able to be in D.C. for the ceremony, you will be able to watch it live during the unveiling. And I'll just give a little tease. You're definitely going to want to watch the ceremony.
Shane Broadway, thanks very much.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.